When I first saw it, I thought that this was a US-made, very advanced next-generation fighter, and in fact that this would explain all the UFO sightings. It was only later to find out that that wasn't the case. We're looking at something, scarcely bigger than a basketball that's doing this.
March 17th, 2025. Buga, Colombia. 2:47 p.m. A metallic sphere falls from the sky and crashes into a farmer's field, without leaving a single scratch. No seams, no joints, no explanation. Carved into its surface are symbols that don't belong to any known language on Earth. Linguists couldn't translate them. Scientists couldn't classify them. And the more the sphere was studied, the clearer one thing became. This wasn't debris. It was deliberate. For months, the sphere sat in labs while scientists threw everything at it. X-rays revealed 3 concentric shells nested inside each other like Russian dolls. 9 microspheres floating between the layers. A tiny chip at its core that defies every attempt to identify it. Then, someone had an idea that changed everything. What if we stopped thinking like humans? What if we let quantum AI take a shot? See, quantum computers don't think in ones and zeros like your laptop. They think in probabilities, in superpositions, in patterns that exist everywhere at once until they collapse into an answer. And when researchers at MIT's quantum lab fed those mysterious engravings into their newest system, something impossible happened. The symbols weren't random. They were equations, not just any equations. These patterns match the fundamental constants of our universe, the fine structure constant that holds atoms together, the golden ratio that nature uses to build everything from galaxies to seashells, mathematical blueprints that shouldn't be carved into a sphere that crashed in Colombia. This isn't science fiction anymore. This is happening right now. Quantum AI didn't just decode symbols. It revealed something that makes physicists uncomfortable. Something that suggests whoever made this sphere understood reality at a level we're only beginning to glimpse. We're about to show you what that code really says and why some researchers are calling it the most important discovery in human history. According to sources inside MIT's Quantum Research Lab, the breakthrough came at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. They'd been stuck for weeks. Classical computers kept finding nothing. Pattern recognition software failed. Even neural networks trained on every ancient language came up empty. Then someone suggested something radical. Feed the symbols into IBM's Condor processor. Link it with Google's Sycamore quantum cloud. Let these machines think in ways we can't. Here's what makes quantum different. Your laptop checks passwords one at a time. A quantum computer checks billions simultaneously. It exists in every possibility until it collapses on the right answer. Think of it like this. You're looking for one specific grain of sand on a beach. Classical computing picks up each grain, examines it, sets it down. Quantum computing becomes the entire beach at once, then instantly knows which grain you want. The sphere's glyphs went into the quantum lattice at midnight. 3 hours later, patterns emerged, not random patterns, mathematical constants. The first sequence matched Planck's constant down to 15 decimal places. That's the smallest possible unit of energy in our universe, the number that defines quantum mechanics itself. The second sequence, golden ratio spirals, the same mathematical pattern in hurricanes, galaxies, and DNA helixes. Nature's favorite number, carved into alien metal. Imagine if your phone could test every password all at once. That's the kind of speed we're describing. This isn't future technology. IBM and Google are operating these machines today, right now, and they just broke a code that wasn't supposed to exist. For 72 hours non-stop, the quantum processors burned through outcomes. Each layer of symbols exposed fresh constants: the speed of light, the gravitational constant, values that bind reality together. The sphere wasn't talking in words. It was communicating in the language of the universe itself. But here's where scientists get uneasy. These aren't estimates. They're exact, far more precise than our best readings. Whoever created this sphere understood physics better than we do. But the ratios were only the beginning. The real substance hid deeper in the code. The second layer of symbols changed everything. When the quantum AI translated these patterns, they stopped being numbers. They became frequencies, resonance patterns that froze the research team because they recognized them. LIGO observed them in 2015. Gravitational waves from merging black holes. The sphere's engravings match the frequency signatures exactly. Not close, identical. How does a metal sphere in Colombia carry the sound of black holes colliding a billion years ago? But then, Layer 3 got stranger. The patterns transformed into orbital resonances. Jupiter's moons moving in flawless mathematical balance. Saturn's rings holding their gaps through gravitational rhythm. Even exoplanets discovered last year, their orbital ratios etched into the sphere. Some physicists call it a cosmic Rosetta Stone. Others believe it's something more. Dr. Sarah Chen from Caltech said it plainly. If you wanted to store the operating system of space-time, this is how you'd do it. Think about that. Not a message, not directions, but the actual mathematical framework that makes reality function. The source code of existence compressed into symbols on a metal sphere. That isn't technology. That's drifting into something theological. We build computers to handle information. This sphere may be information, pure math turned physical. The simulation results sent shivers through the lab. When they modeled how the three shells interact with those frequencies, the sphere didn't act like an object. It acted like a resonance amplifier, a cosmic tuning fork. Feed it the right frequency, and it would echo the structure of space itself. Before we tell you what happened when they actually tried that, hit subscribe, because what we're about to share has never been publicly discussed. And trust me, you'll want to hear what sound emerged. Every physicist knows Einstein's quote, "God doesn't play dice with the universe." Well, maybe God doesn't need dice when the rules are already written. And maybe, just maybe, we're staring at the rulebook. Because when the team activated the resonance test, the sphere didn't merely react. It did something that broke 3 laws of physics. The quantum simulations uncovered something no one expected. Those 3 nested shells aren't just resting there. In the computer model, they generate a field, an electromagnetic bubble that bends light around itself. DARPA has been pursuing this since 2018. MIT calls it metamaterial cloaking. Make an object invisible by guiding photons around it like water around a stone. But the sphere's structure is generations ahead. When scientists simulated how electromagnetic waves would behave inside those aluminum strata, the outcomes were strange. Light didn't merely curve, it twisted, formed interference signatures that shouldn't appear using known substances. Dr. Michael Torres at MIT's Materials Laboratory ran the model 12 times. Identical outcome each run. The stratification behaves like a photonic computer. It processes using light alone. Now those 9 microspheres suspended between the shells in modeling. They aren't arbitrary. They sit at exact mathematical distances. Golden ratio intervals, Fibonacci sequence ordering. Input the system a frequency, any frequency, and the microspheres vibrate, not chaotically. They form standing waves that enhance select harmonics, like a quantum tuning fork that recalls every tone it has encountered. Recall those viral clips of Sanskrit chanting, causing the sphere to hum? The model confirms it's plausible. Not mysticism, physics. Specific frequencies would trigger resonance chains through the layered geometry. The sphere functions as a receiver, a sender, possibly both. We're not claiming it's extraterrestrial technology, but imagine a storage drive that doesn't hold files. It preserves fields. Magnetic fields, gravitational imprints, electrical patterns. That's what the modeling indicates this object might achieve. The most disturbing simulation came from Caltech. They examined what occurs if the sphere is fed its own encoded frequencies, the ones engraved across its surface. The digital sphere didn't simply resonate. It produced a localized space-time anomaly. Minuscule, microscopic, yet detectable. That shouldn't be achievable using aluminum and microspheres. We're halfway into this inquiry, and we've hardly touched the depths. The sphere isn't merely an artifact. It could be a key, a resonance fork for reality, a data vessel that archives physics instead of imagery. But next, we'll explain why some scientists believe those markings aren't solely formulas. They're coordinates, a stellar map directing toward regions humanity has never reached. The insight emerged when someone stopped treating the symbols as language. Dr. Lisa Park from Harvard's Astrophysics Division attempted a different approach. She mapped the glyph arrangements onto star charts. Not Earth's visible sky. Deep cosmos. Andromeda. The Magellanic Clouds. Ancient globular clusters predating our sun itself. The correlation was immediate. 3 symbol chains matched exactly with radio burst origins. FRB 202203119, FRB 202108007. Coordinates highlighting the most intense cosmic signals ever observed. But here's what unsettled everyone. One configuration matched a source we haven't logged yet. A spatial location where nothing observable exists. Just vacant darkness between Andromeda and Triangulum. The quantum AI indicates it isn't vacant. Something resides there, dormant. Consider what humanity did with Voyager's golden record. We etched our location into metal, music, mathematics, DNA codes. This is humanity. This is our home. What if this sphere serves the same purpose? Not originating here, but there. A probe transporting not only knowledge, but direction. The ultimate cosmic message in a bottle, bearing a return address encoded in gravitational frequencies. Look at the overlay on your display. These aren't characters, they're locations, stellar coordinates, galactic navigation, but not for mapping Earth. This is deep space targeting. Regions our instruments can barely observe. The designs even pinpoint pulsars, nature's most accurate timekeepers. Navigate using pulsars, and you can cross an entire galaxy. Any culture capable of creating this would understand that. Jose Velasquez, the primary investigator, said something that stayed with everyone. We keep searching for alien radio transmissions. What if they don't rely on radio? What if they send objects? Voyager will wander for 40,000 years before nearing another star. This sphere arrived here intact, operational, still transmitting its code to anyone intelligent enough to interpret it. The ancient comparison is chilling. Egyptian priests wrote of divine eggs falling from the sky. Sumerian records describe sacred spheres holding the knowledge of creation. Were they describing artifacts like this? And if one sphere exists, logic suggests there are others. The rumor surfaced last month. A collector in Japan claims possession of a smaller orb. Comparable markings, altered patterns. Nothing officially confirmed, but murmurs within NASA suggest they're investigating. Intensely. Because if these spheres are probes, They aren't accidental. They're intentional. And Earth wasn't discovered by chance. The whispers emerged in underground collector circles. Tokyo, July 2025. A discreet auction house reportedly documented a second sphere, smaller, 8 inches wide instead of 12. Different engravings, yet the same impossible fabrication. The owner remains anonymous, but leaked images reveal recognizable motifs. Layered shells, seamless construction, symbols that strain your eyes because your mind knows they shouldn't exist. Here's why this is critical. If there are two, there are likely more. And if they're distributed across Earth, something placed them with purpose. Consider what these spheres might hold. Not merely communications, technologies, physical laws we haven't uncovered, knowledge that propels civilizations forward by centuries. Dr. Chen at Caltech made it plain. The standard physics model is incomplete. Dark matter, dark energy, quantum gravity. These spheres may carry the answers. Imagine unlocking even 10% of it. Power systems drawing energy from quantum vacuum fluctuations. Propulsion that curves space instead of consuming fuel. Medical scanners that observe probability waves, not just flesh. This isn't imagination. The mathematics engraved on the sphere already reveal constants more accurate than our finest instruments can detect. Think about that. Truly consider it. If we decoded even a fragment of this technology, everything shifts. Energy shortages solved, space exploration transformed, medical diagnostics that detect illness before symptoms surface. Possible. That's why researchers are proceeding cautiously, and why they're equally afraid of overlooking something monumental. The mass anomaly alone shatters our understanding. 16 pounds became 22 pounds. No added material, no chemical change, just weight emerging from nowhere. One hypothesis, the sphere connects with zero-point energy fields, literally drawing mass from quantum foam. If that's correct, we're not examining a message. We're examining a machine that accesses the core mechanics of space-time. This isn't merely a mystery from a Colombian farm anymore. This could be humanity's first encounter with Type II civilization technology, the kind that exploits entire stars. But before assuming exaggeration, let's remove speculation. Let's show precisely what we know for certain about this sphere. March 17, 2025, Buga, Colombia. Power cables rupture. A metallic object crashes into Juan Velasco's field. When he approaches, the vegetation is dead for 30 feet in all directions. Not scorched, dehydrated, as if something drained every molecule of moisture away. The sphere measures 30 centimeters wide, 12 inches of impossibility. X-ray scans verified by 3 separate laboratories reveal 3 concentric aluminum layers, 95% pure. The remaining 5% consists of trace materials that don't correspond to any known alloy. Suspended between the layers, 9 microspheres hover in flawless balance. No cables, no magnetism. They simply remain suspended. At the exact center sits a chip, possibly silicon, possibly something unknown, far too small to remove without destroying the entire assembly. Weight readings came from multiple scales on separate dates. Day 1, 16 pounds. Day 7, 20 pounds. Day 14, 22 pounds. No rationale. Physics insists mass cannot manifest spontaneously. The sphere suggests physics is incomplete. Jose Velasquez heads the Mexican research team. He's examined meteorites for 2 decades. His words, "I've never encountered anything like this, ever." Julia Mossbridge of UC San Diego wants Harvard's Galileo project involved. She's not calling it alien. She's saying it demands rigorous investigation. Actual science, not online speculation. The Sanskrit chanting clips remain unconfirmed, but the Colombian farmer insists the sphere vibrated when his daughter sang beside it. Frequency 432 Hz, the same tone some musicians label cosmic. Picture it this way. You discover a phone case without a phone, except the case bends light, creates fields, and gains weight independently. That's where we are. Mexican researchers currently possess the sphere. NASA has requested material samples. 3 universities are competing to examine it. Everyone is cautious, because if this represents real technology, whoever deciphers it first reshapes the world. Or perhaps the world is already shifting. We may have just uncovered the user guide. So what does that mean for humanity? Are we standing on the edge of the greatest discovery ever, or chasing illusion and coincidence? Let's pause and examine what we truly face. A metallic sphere falls in Colombia. No seams, no weld lines, 3 impossible layers that shouldn't be feasible. It gains mass without absorbing material. 16 pounds becomes 22 pounds. Physics has no answer. Vegetation dead within 30 feet. No radiation, no toxins, just total cellular dehydration forming a perfect circle. Symbols no linguist can interpret. Patterns that align with no alphabet humanity has ever devised. Then quantum AI deciphers it, and everything shifts. The carvings aren't language. They're universal constants. Planck's constant, the golden ratio, the fine structure constant binding atoms together, accuracy beyond our best instruments. Deeper strata expose gravitational wave imprints, black hole collisions, spinning pulsars, coordinates aimed at empty space where something may exist. Simulations indicate it's a resonance amplifier, a mechanism capable of warping electromagnetic fields, storing gravitational signatures, interfacing directly with space-time. Quantum AI uncovered something that appears godlike, not because it's divine, but because it holds the operating system of reality. The equations that construct galaxies, the frequencies that collapse probability into matter, the deepest framework of existence engraved into metal we cannot recreate. Consider the implications. Either someone on Earth fabricated an impossible artifact with counterfeit alien script as history's most elaborate hoax, or we possess evidence we're not alone. And whoever exists out there understands physics so profoundly, our science resembles cave art. Jose Velasquez has analyzed space debris for decades. He says this object isn't natural. Julia Mossbridge from UC San Diego wants every conceivable test conducted. She understands the stakes. NASA asked for samples, but won't disclose the reason. 3 universities are competing for access, and somewhere in Japan, a second sphere may be locked away, waiting. Is this a probe assessing Earth for intelligence? The fact we decoded it could be the test. Is it a data vault? A gift of understanding from a civilization attempting uplift? Or something else entirely? A signal? A key? A warning? Quantum systems revealed the what, universal constants, gravitational patterns, cosmic coordinates, but they can't explain the why. Why Earth? Why now? Why encode the source code of reality inside a sphere? What do you believe this truly is? Comment below. Your idea might be the one that unlocks this entirely, because thousands of minds outperform a handful of scientists in a lab. We're either observing the greatest discovery in human history or the most intricate mystery ever devised. Subscribe now. Activate notifications, because when the second sphere emerges, and our sources say it will, you'll hear it here first.